Thank you.
I'd like us to begin with what Migori Governor Okoth-Obado just said. The level of provocation is what he's referring to, is what led to his outburst in the party. Let's begin there with regard to this incident yesterday.
I think it's quite irresponsible for a governor to say that he was provocated. Whatever happens, I think leaders, especially governors, and all state officers must display tolerance. You cannot justify an action like that and say that I was provoked. These are the kind of things that are going to really, lead this nation into the wrong path. And we have been through this journey before in 2007, 2008. We don't want to go back there. These governors, know that we are approaching elections, and everyone is talking about peace, tolerance, credible elections. It is the responsibility of all the leaders, especially the governors, to make sure that what the activities that they're engaged in are activities that inspire peace, that inspire confidence in the electorate.
Right.
Yeah, because if you look at all the, if you look at even the Political Parties Act, and even the parties, even if you look at the ODM, Code of Conduct, Chapter 22, talks about these things that if you're an aspirant, there is no way you can, you can inspire, violence. There is no way you can intimidate. You have to be, the politicians must be on the forefront of preaching peace, because if they don't do that, then we will not have good elections.
Right, but the thing is, from what we've seen, they're not doing that. And from what we've seen, we clearly need an accountability strategy and an accountability structure put in place. But what we're seeing here is inter-party. This was within ODM, because many times we talk about conflict across the political divide. Sure. Political parties are mandated to also discipline their aspirants and discipline members who act in such a manner and provoke such violence. But do you think that political parties really and their disciplinary committees have the capacity to tame this?
Yeah, I think they do. And I'm happy that the other day, especially the ODM party, you saw that they punished some of their members who were involved in a fracas the other day in front of the former Prime Minister Raila Odinga. That was very shameful, very regrettable. But at least I was happy that they had the courage to take action against those, including giving fines. But those were not enough. I would have loved to see a scenario whereby those members are banned, from seeking elections. Yeah. So, but I think, especially in the case of Migori, I think again the ODM party must come up and punish, all those who are involved. Investigations must be done. Who shot that bullet, for example? This is irresponsible. If you're a governor and you have your bodyguards who are basically paid by the state to take care of you, how would he shoot a bullet like that? I think they need to be trained, especially these bodyguards. How can you be able to control such kind of violence? If people they should use the bullets as a matter of last resort. You can never shoot at bullets where there are people, especially where we have someone like Governor Joho was there. I think it was very responsible. The politics around Governor Joho. If that bullet had hit Governor Joho, we'd be talking about another language today, especially in the coastal area.
And of course, there's been a lot of claims of an assassination. But just taking a look at Migori, it's not the first time that we've had politically instigated violence or political violence in Migori. It's happened again this time. Do you feel security apparatus in the country, as well as IEBC, has put enough security measures in place across the country to ensure that they can prevent or, cap politically instigated violence?
If you ask me, I don't think that the IEBC is ready to deal with this. If they're ready, then I would like them to actually start by making sure that all these aspirants who are engaging in violence are actually nipped in the bud. The police should also be on the watch out. The police are state officers, and they must make sure that whichever part of the country, they must make sure that the Kenyan voter, is at peace. Because if we allow these kind of scenarios to happen, we're not going to have nominations. Because then the poor Mwananchi, the women, they will be afraid to even come for the nominations. Because already we have incidences of preparedness for violence.
Right.
Yeah, so I think I want to really encourage the Inspector General of Police to take it upon himself, working with the IEBC, to make sure that, especially when you're going through these nominations, let's make sure that all those characters who are really hell-bent on causing chaos during nominations are dealt with.
Right.
Yeah.
And of course, it's not just the IPC and security apparatus. We also have NCIC in terms of hate speech by leaders or speech that is considered as inciting to Kenyans.
Yes.
And, just taking a look at what Okoth Obado was saying, it was the level of provocation. I was angry. So
yes.
In terms of also capping hate speech, which is also a big instigator of political violence, how much more do we need to do?
I think these guys need civic education. And I'm sorry, when the president said we don't need civic education, I actually disagreed with him. They need civic education. These political leaders need civic education. Obado needs civic education. There's no way you can do something like that and justify it in front of the media. We must understand elections. Why do we go through elections? It's just a platform where you choose your leaders. But it is not a justification, for saying that I was provoked. That's why now I had to use my boys. And, and this is where I sympathize with the youth. Look at these young people. These young people don't have jobs. Right. They don't have employment. And then, because of this situation, they become available for misuse by these kind of politicians. So why would these aspirants, why would this, especially someone like a governor, why would he bend that law? To say that he was provoked. I think it is, his responsibility as the governor of that area to make sure that the people who come into his area are safe, whatever the circumstances. Yeah, so he has no excuse.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, being from the Global Peace Foundation, we have about 125 days to the election, very few days. And of course, the first thing in every Kenyan mind is the bitter past of 2007, everybody wanting to know that it will be a peaceful election.
Yes.
Are we on the right track?
I think we started this discussion when my patron, hosted stakeholders and spoke about preparedness. So we basically, came up with a collective impact effort to talk about Kenya and to talk about our preparedness for the coming elections. We actually started a campaign, and my organization is part of Uwiano Peace Platform, which is looking at these issues. But I must tell you that I'm very, very sorry to Kenyans because efforts to actually educate the young people have been frustrated. For example, the donor communities, especially when you heard that we don't need civic education, then some of them were scared away.
Right.
But we need, and especially even without looking at the donors, I think it is the responsibility of the government to set aside funds to make sure that those youths who are causing violence in Migori are educated. You get my point? They need to be educated so that they know that election is not about fighting. It's about just choosing your leaders, and that's all. So we would like, again, to call it, because there are so many parties, doing this. Everyone doing their small little things in that area about peace. So, and most organizations are looking at election period as a way of cashing in. But for us as a foundation, this is something that we're passionate about.
Right.
We don't necessarily want to make money out of it, but we just want to prepare our youth so that elections come, they can go and vote peacefully, and we can have a resilient Kenya. That's why every Wednesday, we always do Twitter chats in the morning. Tomorrow Wednesday, we're going to have under the hashtag Resilient Kenya.
Right.
Getting the nation to talk about these issues, talk about voter bribery. Look, you're talking about this, but there's so much electoral offenses and malpractices going on from early campaigning. People are campaigning early with impunity. These politicians you're seeing, the reason why those young people are actually fighting for them is because they're paying them. You get my point? There's voter bribery. IEBC knows that, but they're doing nothing. So my advice is to IEBC, it is your responsibility. If you really want to see this nation, stand, you must start cracking down on voter bribery,
and electoral offenses.
It's very, very difficult, for example, ladies to campaign, because they don't have the money to dish out to the youth. But this is the norm. And if we allow these small malpractices to take root, then we will not be able to control the bigger incidences.
Right, yes. Because everybody wants a free and fair election.
Yes.
Many thanks, Daniel Juma, there from the Global Peace Foundation. Speaking to us, of course, on the situation taking place in Migori there, ODM leader, I beg your pardon, Mombasa Governor Hassan Joho, they're claiming that there was an assassination attempt at an ODM rally in Migori